I ran to the bathroom. I was like, I'm not ready. When Denzel, Blake Gilliam, Mo Better, insurance. Find me an insurance company that gives you your check the day after a tragedy, okay? But, whoo, it ain't for the weak. There will be no Tyler Perry slander ever in my presence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Comedy Divas podcast, where we welcome funny divas from the stage to the screen and behind the scenes to tell their amazing stories because you know what? They aren't told enough. I'm your host and founder of Comedy Divas, Sharon Brathwaite, aka Sharon B. Thank you so much for being here. We have a really amazing diva in the house tonight, and we're going to get to her in a minute. But first, please, when you get a chance, subscribe, follow. We appreciate the love. Now, without further ado, we're going to bring it in, but I'm going to tell you a little bit, just in case you don't know. This is Coco Brown. She's a comedian, an actress, writer, producer, entrepreneur. You may have seen her on Shaquille O'Neal's All-Star Comedy Jam, her six seasons on Tyler Perry's For Better or Worse. She played Principal Pat on Apple TV's The Big Door Prize, and she can currently be seen in the film Twisted Heart, which she is a producer on. Go ahead, girl. So without further ado, please welcome the amazing Coco Brown.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And how are you doing? You know, you made national news when you had your fire, you and your little angel. So just sincerely, how are you guys doing?
We are blessed and unbothered, honey. We are blessed. You know, we're on the other side of it. We're home. It is not just the house anymore. It's home. And, you know, we're just happy and at peace right now.
Okay, congratulations. And it must have been nice to see all the outpouring of love because it really literally made national news.
It was insane, you know, but it let me know that people cared about me more than I thought.
That's a blessing.
Yes,
awesome.
Absolutely.
So we want to tell your story. We want to hear your journey and how'd you get started in comedy?
I got started. A friend of mine got me in it. Shout out to my boy Onyx Lithicum, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Because I never thought about being a stand-up comedian. That never crossed my mind. I went to a barbecue that he invited me to. Come to find out, it was the home of Chris Paul. At the time was on the radio with Donnie Simpson. Him and his business partner owned a comedy club. His business partner thought I was funny at the barbecue, told me, you should come try stand up. And I'm like, yeah, you know, and I'm not afraid of a stage. I've been doing theater since I was 10. So I was like, okay. And met my mentor that night who saw something in me. He took me under his wing, taught me the game, and the rest has been history.
That's a great story. So you said something about theater. So was that your first love? Did you want to do theater?
I mean, it was always something I loved to do. My mother and my fifth grade teacher, shout out Miss Marshall, put me in theater because I talk too much. And they wanted to do something with all that energy in that mouth. So and it was just something that I loved doing. I went all the way through college minoring in theater, but still never thought it was something that was going to, you know, be what I did for a living. That never crossed my mind. You know,
so
it just happened.
What was your major and what did you think you were going to do?
I thought I was going to be a broadcast journalism or a lawyer. I mean, honestly, I was in between. Did I want to be Claire Huxtable or did I want to be Oprah?
That's a great choice, though.
Completely left on everything. Yeah.
And then did you have any comedy influences when you first started?
You know, because I didn't, you know, dreamt about this like most people who become comedians do. I had to have a crash course, you know, but when I first got in the game, I was made to study the greats. I was made to study, you know, Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby and LaWanda Page and George Carlin and Freddie Prinze and Gilda Radner. And, you know, I could just go down the list, you know what I'm saying, Shirley Hemphill. I was made to study those who had come before me. You know, I literally had courses that Fat Doctor took me through that I looked through each decade of comedy and he would give me like tests. So I would know, you know, what to do in terms of adjusting because the business and the game is always changing.
Absolutely. It's totally evolved in so many ways over the years.
Mhm.
Back then, you really had to get on stage. You really had. So, how were you scared? If I know you said you liked the stage, but those first few years, were there any like hecklers or working out your skills? And
I didn't really get a lot of hecklers because I was new, but I got my first crash course in comedy the very first time I stepped on stage trying to be a comic. And I called myself, I've seen Def Jam, I've seen Comedy View, I can write a joke. No, you can't. So I was up there with my little 5 minutes and I was dying a horrible death. And then I freaked out and said, I don't need this. I work for the circus. And the audience fell out laughing. And I said, oh, wait, no, I ain't juggling no monkeys or nothing. Now I work in corporate. And the people were laughing. So when I came off stage, I was just like, what just happened? And then that's when I met Fat Doctor, Darcel, Fat Dr. Blejman, who we considered the godfather of comedy in DC, who had mentored Martin Lawrence and Donnell Rollins and Tommy Davis. And there's so many people that had come out the DMV that went under his tutelage. And he was there that night and he said, you learned something that it takes comics years to learn. And I said, what's that? He said, what's real is what's funny.
facts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I didn't expect to be here, so I'm grateful.
I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by your glasses. They're so cute.
Oh, yes.
Glasses gang. Those are so cute.
Whore, honey. I'm a frame whore. So much so that I have my own line coming out with Vontel Eyewear, which is a Black female-owned frame company out of Washington, D.C. I've partnered with them to have my own frame line. So
That's wonderful.
After my son.
Absolutely. That is so amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you mentioned working in corporate America. You have any other like odd jobs you did just on your rise in comedy?
Checkers for 1 week.
Why only 1 week?
Girl, I was claustrophobic. That is too small of a space, honey. I can't use the bathroom and flip a burger in the same location. I just can't. I was out of there.
Something we like to ask people, who would be on your Mount Rushmore of Black female comics?
God. LaWanda Page, Shirley Hemphill. God, it's so many. I would say definitely LaWanda Page, Moms Mabley, absolutely Moms Mabley on the Mount Rushmore. Moms Mabley, LaWanda Page, Shirley Hemphill, Marsha Warfield.
Oh wow,
that'd be my Mount Rushmore.
That is amazing. I want to give you a compliment because we had B Flat and she put you on hers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, B. Now, if I was to do like more contemporary, like now, yeah, it'd be like some more and Adele Givens. B Flat, of course. Leslie Jones. I mean,
no, absolutely, no. I just wanted to
Mount Rushmore when you see, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going there. But no, wow, thanks, B. I appreciate that.
So can we talk about that? About the sisterhood of comedy. It's a very exclusive club, especially Black women in comedy. It has its ups and downs. So what has the sisterhood been like for you?
When I first came in the game, I tell people I was raised by wolves. All my mentors were dudes. I mean, from Fat Doctor to Joe Recker to, of Talent and JB Smoove. And, most of my, mentors were dudes. I always say I was raised by wolves. When I began to kind of get in the mix of things is when I began to develop the sisterhood, when I became little sis to people like Samore and Adele Givens and Simply Marvelous and Thea Fadal and, Laura, Miss Laura. That's when they took me under their wing and they saw something in me and I became, baby sister. And it's so funny how it's evolved now that I've now become auntie to a lot of the younger female comics coming up. So yeah, it's wild.
And you have some touring happening right now.
Oh God, have I been? I'm everywhere, but I'm blessed. Just got back from doing my alma mater, Virginia Commonwealth University's Black Alumni Weekend, which was amazing. Did a show there, screened the movie that I just was in and was one of the co-producers. And, I was in, DC with my boy Joe Cleese. I've got coming up, working with my boy Nate Jackson, who is just a phenomenal comic that I have watched flip the script. That man slept on my couch in LA when he first got in the game. He's like a baby brother to me. And it's like to watch how he's evolved. And now he has, he had a comedy club and then he went and just blew up and became this phenomenon. And now he has a bigger comedy club that's just amazing. And I'm actually doing it Mother's Day weekend. It's in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, okay. He does some amazing crowd work.
Oh my God.
Like
It's so funny. When I would do his club before, that's how he hosted. Like he did crowd work and he brought you up. And I never knew that this was meticulous. This was very on purpose.
yes.
And what I've seen, what he's done with it, I'm like, Lord, that boy's so smart.
Yeah. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of intelligence to do that. People don't realize how hard it is. Yeah.
Because as a Black female comic, they automatically assume that we're not funny. And then we're going to talk about sex for an hour. And then 3, we're going to use the crowd and pick on people. They think that with all comics, actually. I don't know how many times after 29 years in the game, I still get asked, you going to talk about me in the audience now, honey? No, I have material. Now, I do have a rule in my act. You can enjoy my show and you can be my show. Because I can flip it real quick and make you the show. But that's not something I initially do. So to see now that, and when I first came in the game, crowd work was frowned upon. If you couldn't get up there and have material and just pick with people in the crowd, they were like, you ain't no real comic. And now that's become a lane to just do crowd work. And I find myself sometimes deviating from my set just to talk to people in the crowd. And it's been, interesting because like I said, I was always taught that a real comedian doesn't go in the crowd.
It's a whole category now.
It's a whole category now that people are blowing up to just sit on a stool and talk about everybody. And people want to be talked about. Because, when I came up in the game, that was the Def Jam area. Ain't nobody want to be talked to. They were scared to death to sit in the front row. Now people are paying to sit in the front row to be talked about. It's wild.
It's very wild. So you mentioned it, and I'm going to go back to it. Let's talk about your movie you produced.
Yes, Twisted Heart. So excited. I'm just one of the many producers on it. But shout out to my boy, Kershawn Jones, who in Q and Coda Films. They are
There you go. There's your poster.
Yes. Yes. It came out actually last year. We did a tour of it in screenings. We got such amazing reactions. And, just people were just really into it. Like they loved how it was a real thing about the different dynamics of relationships and what keeps people from being happy sometimes, and then what it takes to be happy and be in a partnership. And I play this incredible therapist who's off the chain. She is not your conventional therapist, but you know what? I get her done. And everybody walked away with a new perspective on love and partnership. And I'm super excited that we've been picked up by Amazon Prime, and we premiere on Friday on Amazon Prime.
Wow. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's huge. So, kudos to you because you are very funny. That's just hands down. But you are a dramatic actress too.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I studied theater and then I did a lot of independence and, I've studied acting, never thinking it was going to be something I did for a living until about 96. But, I had studied Meisner and Strasberg and, all that stuff. And I had done Shakespeare and, August Wilson, So for me to be able to come full circle now, because when I first came in the game, of course, I came in as a stand-up comedian. And of course, I initially went into all of the comedic roles. And shout out to the late, great John Singleton, who saw something in me in a boot camp I was doing with the amazing Bill Duke. And he said, don't let them pigeonhole you. You got drama all in you. Like you could be amazing dramatic actress. And when my time was up after we had finished 6 seasons of For Better or Worse, John came and got me for Snowfall. And it didn't work out, but that opened the door for me to get on American Crime Story and get in with Ryan Murphy, which led to me being on 911. And there you go.
There you go. It's just a pivot. It's just like one door closes, another one opens. You gotta keep pushing.
Believe it. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, baby.
Sugar free. Oh. I take that back.
Exactly.
And what are some of your dreams that you still have? What would you like to do as far as your career?
I would definitely like to write romantic comedies for us that really show us, and not be so stereotypical. Yes, the plus size girl can get the fine dude and fall in love. Yes, the high school dropout can mess around and own a Fortune 500 company. Yes, like I want to show all the stories that we know to be true and not just fall into the category. I don't want the fat, funny sidekick. I want some bony chick being funny.
That's right.
you know, so yeah, it's like I would love to, venture in that. I'm actually working on some projects right now that I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it. But I'm working on a couple of Christmas movies I'm super excited about that me and my amazing co-writer Taylor Love have written. And I'm also working on a couple of dramas with another amazing writer, my boy Corey Craze Gilmore. He and I have gotten together and created some magic and dramas, and so now it's just a matter of me getting into that lane where, to be honest, if I could be a Shonda Rhimes, and someone like that, I'm or a Courtney Kemp, and sit back and just watch my magic unfold on screen from the words of my paper, I'm here for it. So that's kind of like my next chapter right now.
Well, let's speak it into existence.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that would be
Absolutely.
amazing.
Mhm.
So we talked about how comedy has evolved, and one of the things that has really become a big thing is social media.
Mhm.
How was it for you to embrace it? And because you have a good following now, how was it, bringing it, learning it, finding out different platforms to be on?
I mean, it was definitely a challenge for me because, I came up in the grittiness of being in the trenches and being on stages and making sure your name preceded you, your reputation preceded you. And the only way you could show that was being on stages, getting on television shows like Comic View and First Amendment, and Def Jam and all that stuff. And then for it to become so easy. Back then it was work. That was work,
Work.
And now it's easy. I can blow up and be a multimillionaire and be famous because I sit in front of a computer screen all day or use my phone and a selfie stick to create content. It was definitely a culture shock for me and a lot of the people that came up in my era. But a lot of us have come to the realization that we are triple threats now because we can prove what we do on a computer screen.
Yep.
You may find me funny as hell in 13 seconds on TikTok, but you come see me on a show, honey, and you getting about to get an hour of fire. Because
Right.
we've got the body of work to back what we do in that 1 minute. So a lot of us have realized that, and we're milking both ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you can embrace it and do it right, it can really, really, really go your way.
When we
So,
realize that, wait a minute, to our advantages, yeah, we can get on here and do it the easy route, but it's really not easy because to me, it's hard when I watch these content creators and how they got to stay so, consistent and doing stuff. I mean, I've done skits with Country Wayne, and I'm like, you shoot 19 different skits and storylines in one day and different cast and people. And I'm like, no, my patience ain't set up like that. But I admire it greatly to have that kind of commitment. Um,
so
to
what was it like to work with Country Wayne? Because he did, set the bar high. He
oh my
he really
God,
changed the game. Hmm.
it's amazing. I've learned a lot watching that man. I've learned a lot. Now, when I will probably break down and execute it, it's coming. I'm just busy, but because I'm still actively touring on my merits alone. The Country Wayne is a bonus because I had a body of work and I've done the TV shows and my reputation preceded, be that people, I mean, if B Flat could put me on Mount Rushmore, and lately these shows I've been on, it's 4 or 5 dudes on there and I'm the headliner. And, that's unheard of, for the female to close the show, but that's what's been happening. So luckily for me, I had, pretty much set that bar for myself that everything I do now is a bonus and just helps me get more, butts in the seats and gets me more notoriety. But trust me, I can't go to the grocery store. I'm at that point. I'm not infamous. I always tell people I'm famous. I'm not infamous. Infamous is I can't go outside. I can go outside. I'm famous. I take a few selfies and I can still shop at the grocery store.
Has there been anyone that you were surprised they came up to you that they knew you? Any
Denzel
celebrities?
Washington.
Girl,
Baby,
shut up. Wait.
Denzel said, I know who you are, girl. I could have died that day and been fine. When Denzel, Bleak Gilliam, Mo Better. I met him at the Tyler Perry grand opening gala. And I'm literally, this is going to sound surreal, I'm literally doing the electric slide in between Bill and Hillary Clinton.
No. Wow.
And I turn around and Denzel and Pauletta are behind me. And so, of course, the song had ended. And, of course, I'm just starstruck, you know. And I'm like, hi, Mr. Washington. I'm a huge fan. I'm Coca Brown. I'm comedian. He goes, I know who you are. I was like, what? He goes, you're funny as hell. And I was like, baby, I could have died at that moment. Because I was like,
it's a wrap.
That was it for me, honey. I was good. But that's the one that floored me. And I think second to that, to Denzel, was the first time I met my blueprint. And I call her my blueprint because I say, like, they're my yin and my yang on my vision board. And that's Loretta Devine and Jennifer Lewis. And when they knew who I was and they treat me like, you know, a daughter, I'm good. You know, the only one that I'm preparing myself for, because I do live, breathe, and study her like a stalker, is Viola. I just don't feel like I'm worthy to breathe her air yet. I was about 10 feet away from her at the Tyler Perry Gala, and one of my co-stars, for better or worse, was like, oh, there go Viola, because she knows how I feel about Viola Davis. And she was like, there go Viola. I said, I ran to the bathroom. I was like, I'm not ready. I kicked myself, but I was like, I'm not worthy yet.
I can't even imagine. Congratulations.
Oprah, you know, when Oprah knew who I was, that was crazy.
Okay, Miss Coco. those are some major names right there. Yeah, like, wow. Wow.
You know, and Oprah's hugging you from behind going, how's my Coca? Hey, you know, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Wow. So I've definitely had some whoa moments in my life. Yeah.
So, you know, you worked with Mr. Perry on For Better or Worse, and you did a movie with him as well. Yeah. So, you know, you work with people and it's like, oh, they're nice to you. But when he stepped up, when you were at your, you know, at your such a loss, when you lost your house, what was that like when he stepped up and came to your rescue?
I was blown away. But at the same token, is a part of me that wasn't surprised, because I've seen that man's heart. And this is what he does. I just didn't think I was on his radar because I hadn't seen the man in probably 5 years. I hadn't talked to him in like 5 years since the, you know, For Better or Worse ended. And it wasn't even on my brain to even call him or even think about calling him, because I keep it 100. I'm that chick. If I'm asking for help, I've done everything shy of selling my kidneys to get what I need. I'm that chick. It's just how I was raised. It's how I am. If I ask for help, trust and believe I've done everything shy of selling a bodily organ or limb to get what I needed. And so when he reached out to me, I just, you know, initially when the phone call happened, I just thought he had heard, you know, he told me he had heard about it. And he was like, how are you? You know, I'm so sorry. And then it just went into this whole, well, where are you? And I said, well, I'm in a hotel. And he's like, what do you need? What do you get you out that hotel? And next thing I know, he rents a house for me and my child, with a fenced-in backyard for my dogs for like dang near a year. And so I'm thinking, thank you, Jesus, thank you. And then to turn around and say, well, how much did you owe on that house? And I told him, and for him to give me that plus $100,000, I was like, what? And I mean, and he's just been, whatever you need, Coco, whatever you need. And it just wasn't words. Like, his assistant would call and check on me and my son like every other week. Like, what do you need? Do you need anything? When I was going through it with my insurance company, because I did have insurance, for you idiots who had the nerve to say, because my brother set up a GoFundMe, I should have had insurance. Find me an insurance company that gives you your check the day after a tragedy, okay? But I was like,
true.
Stupid. You can tell who ain't got renter's insurance. You can tell who ain't. How you gonna say I ain't had no insurance because my brother put up a GoFundMe? She should have had insurance. I do, fool. You know how long it took me to get my check? But when he found out that I was going through a little bit of struggle getting my, cost of living expenses and my checks and everything, I don't know who he called, but all I know is them checks started coming. And so I'm just very, very grateful to him. There will be no Tyler Perry slander ever in my presence. And I'm grateful. Me and my son are extremely grateful to him, and I know he does it from his heart because he does it and forgets about it. Like, he doesn't remind you what he did for you. Some people do stuff for you and have to constantly remind you what they did. This man has never brought it up. Even when I thank him, he said, "Oh, girl, you good, you good." I'm like, I wish I could give out that kind of money and be like, "I'm good, I'm good."
Right.
Not there yet, but I'm so grateful to him. He made that one of the lowest points in my life bearable, and I'm really appreciative of him for that.
It's good to know who your friends are.
Oh, baby, trust me. And trust me, it's not like I didn't think we were not friends, but I hadn't spoken to this man, seen this man in 5 years. And to think that I was still on his radar, that he considered me a friend, he considered me, someone he'd want to make sure was good, that meant a lot to me.
When someone does something that when they don't have to do it, when they don't have to, it's amazing. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like I said, there will be no Tyler Perry slander. I will take that case and smile in my mugshot.
You saw your sisters in comedy stand up too, because Sherry Shepherd and Kim
Oh
Whitley.
my gosh, Sherry and Kim came through for me. My co-star Tasha Smith came through for me. Tammy Roman, Chris Tucker, like, blew me away, and how he looked out for me. Columbus Short looked out for me. People just it was just unreal. I mean, Byron Allen, who I have not worked for in a decade,
wow,
donated to my GoFundMe. So it's like, I told my son, this is indicative of what happens when you are a good person.
Absolutely.
Leave people better than you met them. Because every person that looked out for me that I've named, and some I just can't even remember right now because there's so many, they all said how I made them feel at some point in our interaction. That I was a good person, that I had a great heart. And so I told my son, it does pay to be a good person. Yes, it may not come when you want it, but it'll definitely come when you
right on time. Yeah.
So
amen.
Be a good person. You ain't got to lie, scheme, wheel and deal, and do people dirty to make it, sugar. It's better to plant good seeds than weeds.
Amen. Amen. I had the pleasure of recently watching you on HGTV.
Oh yeah.
Married to Real Estate with Egypt and Mike. What was that experience like?
Woo! It ain't for the weak. Because I'm such a hands-on person, and then to turn over your home to someone and you can't see what's going on, you don't know what's going on, it's your home. My reaction was very real when I walked in that door on that episode, because they would not let me even come to my pool for 4 months.
Wow.
So I could barely get over here and get my mail. It was you definitely got to have the patience. You have to be open-minded. You got to have a lot of faith, and just know, don't spend all your money on that. Keep some aside, because if you like me, you're gonna want to make it your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, but it was definitely an experience. We love our home. It's so cozy and warm and peaceful. Everybody that comes in my house, now that I've decorated and gotten it together, my girlfriend was here earlier because she spent the night, because she lives in Alabama and she didn't want to drive home. And she ran right to my guest room, which I've decorated as like Jamaica. It's like, it's very, very tropical, very Caribbean.
All right.
She goes in that room and does not come out. She really would be like, "Girl, I'm on vacation." I'm like, "You in the guest room." But everybody says how warm and peaceful my home is, and that's what I want. My home is my tranquil place.
But also, again, with that show, there were a huge amount of people there to support you. God. That was so amazing.
Man, when I tell you, they told me I could invite a few friends, and they invited everybody else, all the other friends. And I mean, old neighbors from my old neighborhood, my pastor, friends that I went to high school with.
Wow. Wow.
It was, and to share that with them, And all of them knowing what me and my son had gone through for those almost 9.5 months of being in an Airbnb and having to buy
Ooh.
those simplest things as toothpaste and stuff stuff you realize you don't need until you need it because it's so minuscule. Like I realized I didn't have a pair of scissors.
Wow.
I'm saying so
Yeah.
it's like going through that whole process of rebuilding in a foreign environment at Airbnb and then coming into a home that is just whoa, and then taking the time to make it your own and having those friends support you. My girlfriend is very proud of how she organized my closets.
Yeah, your closets were nice. You barn doors.
My other homegirl took, she was in the cabinets with all the seasonings, and the other homegirl was like, "Get out! This is my project." I'm like, "Girl, it's my closet. Them my clothes." But I'm just blessed and grateful, that I didn't have to go through it by myself. But at the same token, it taught me just how resilient I am. And not too much is going to shake me anymore in this lifetime because I've been at the lowest and watched myself through the grace of God rebuild.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
To have that much love says a lot about you and who you are.
Yeah, I
Mm.
appreciate, and the one thing that TP, as I call him, uh, made me promise was I was like, how can I ever repay you? And he said, pay it forward.
Mm.
And that's what I've been doing. That's what I've paid for some prom dresses, honey. I done paid some mortgages. Now don't be hitting me up. Look, it's got to come on my spirit. Don't be calling me. I don't know you like that, no, but I'm saying. But no, I've really I kept my promise. I'm going to pay it forward, because I was blessed so immensely and abundantly that it's the right thing to do. And it just hits me at the most craziest times. I recently was blessed with a very popular store that went out of business in a location, and they gave me all of their inventory.
Wow.
I could be selfish and put that on eBay, but no, I've called women's shelters from here to Savannah, and we're putting together care boxes. And then I'm letting nonprofits come in and do pop-up shops with that merchandise to sell to raise money for their organizations. I got to pay it forward. I'm good.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of paying it forward, you have a Wigs of Love.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Yes, of course. It's Wigs of Love is my nonprofit organization that I created in memory of my aunt G, my friend Chastity, and also just women I've encountered that suffer from lupus, and they suffer from it so silently, like it's a stigma, which is so sad because it's not. It's a disease just as crucial as breast cancer, lung cancer, and it should be given the same love, respect, and research funds. And I created that because so many women have lost their hair due to lupus. Like my aunt G, when I tell you she was like Dominique Devereaux growing up. And when she got lupus, to watch her transition and feeling so insecure about her looks, because lupus makes you break out. It makes your hair fall out. It makes you,
Yeah.
my aunt was like a perfect size 6, even at 50, and to watch that and know that something as simple as a custom made wig and a beautiful outfit from a boutique could have boosted her self-esteem at that time. So when I created Wigs of Love, it was in memory of them. That basically I do this. I provide custom wigs for women who've lost their hair due to chemotherapy, lupus, radiation, alopecia, medication. I don't care what your reason is that you've lost your hair. Hit me up. Okay, I got you. I have some amazing wigologists, as I call them, that come in and do the most beautiful wigs on women. And it's wigs that fit them. It's just not you throwing somebody's hair on your head. These wigs are them. And then I do an event once a year, which I haven't been able to do the last 2 years due to the fire and just getting everything back in order. But I'm doing something huge in 2026. I'm already planning it. But I let we
There's
pick.
your Wigs of Love.
Yes.
Mhm.
I shout out to my boy Chris, who did that wonderful site for me. And we honor women. We have people submit letters and pictures of women that are suffering from lupus that would like to be honored. We pick up to 7 women. I'm probably going to do 10 next year. And we give them a weekend of Hollywood glam and we spoil them. We're talking car service, hotels, we're talking fashion, photo shoots with a world acclaimed, very well known photographer, my boy Antoine Dwayne Jones. We have custom made wigs. I've had them donated from everyone from Kim Kimball, to Derek J, people that have done custom made wigs. And then we celebrate them in a brunch where we have in people come in. Last year, I had singers, I had poets. We had a wonderful guest speaker that came from the Social Butterflies Lupus Foundation, which I am a part of. I'm a strong advocate for them. So a lot of portion of my raising, I give to them as well. And we do that. And it's just, and then we present them with a huge portrait from their photo shoot. And the motto is, I am not my condition.
That's nice.
I want them to see them beautiful. I want them to see them who they truly are, and that you are not lupus. Lupus is just something you have.
That's awesome. And that helps your spirit from the inside out, helps your health
and
to feel good like that. Yeah.
Because they go to a great cause. We help with medication. We help with Uber rides, getting to appointments. Of course, we do the wigs. We have support. Like I said, I work with Social Butterflies, that they are a lupus foundation. So they have a lot of information and stuff. So, feel free. It is a 501(c)(3). You do get a tax deduction, but, we appreciate any donations and support.
And we'll put more information.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because also another thing about lupus, it's at a very disproportionate amount of Black women. So they don't get the funding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
78%.
Wow.
Are us.
Wow.
It's almost like the Black female sickle cell anemia.
That's amazing.
Yeah, seriously.
Mm-hmm. We need more funding. We need more attention. Absolutely. It's a hard segue, but I wanted to talk more about your career because you've worked both in comedy and drama and everything. So I wanted to see any amazing co-stars that may surprise us, or any stories from one of the many people you've worked with.
I mean, definitely working with my cast on For Better or Worse was fun. Everybody had very distinct personalities, and it was good to get to know all of them. And I've still stayed in touch and are friends with quite a few of them: Kiki Haynes, Kent Falcon, Brad James, Michael Jai, Tasha. We're all, Crystal, we're all still cool. I truly enjoyed working on Never Have I Ever on Netflix. I played Principal Grubbs on that show, and those kids on that show were just the sweetest kids. There was no egos. They weren't on no other crap. They were the sweetest they could be. And then my girl Pona, who is now on Deli Boys. I absolutely adore her. She is gorgeous inside and out. Of course, 911. I mean, I love me some Ryan Guzman that plays Eddie. That's my boy. Love him to pieces. Of course, Christopher, that's played by Gavin. I love him. I love Gavin so much. Gavin McHugh. I love him. To see him grow up on the show is amazing. And he's such an amazing actor. He does not let his condition ever hinder him. He's amazing. And then, of course, when I got to do a scene with Angela Bassett, I peed a little. Yes. But I had hung out with Angela before, and Angela is so cool. It's so real. She's a bar for me in the sense that when I meet people that don't even have half the credits or accolades of that woman, with egos and chips on their shoulders that are acting like buttholes, I'm just looking like, do you realize I broke bread at Angie's house? Like, who are you? You ain't nobody, but how you gonna walk around here with a chip on your shoulder like your stuff don't stink? And
talk about it.
And be like, hey, Cole, like, don't do that. So it's like, she's like, I always kind of model myself after women like that, like Cheryl Lee Ralph, beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. I mean, you can't be around her and not feel like butterflies and rainbows around you, Yeah. And it's just certain people like, I take a lot of heed from the Loretta Devise, the Jennifer Lewises. They are just regal women, classy women, beautiful women inside and out. And they don't have to lead with their ego.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've worked on a lot of things interviewing some big celebrities, and it's interesting. The bigger celebrities are way,
your whole ego.
They're so nice. It's like they're so nice, and people who are like
a chip on your shoulder with a You can get out my face.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to say it nicely, but some people it's like, woo.
Well, you can
Like,
always
really?
tell who did it for the fame and not for the passion.
There you go.
You can always tell. You can
That
always
part.
tell.
So who is the dream person to work with then? Male
Viola,
or female?
Viola.
Oh, you did say that, right?
Period. Don't get me wrong. I want to work with everybody. But I feel like the day I get to work with that queen, you can put me in the ground and I'm good. Viola, hands down. Like, I mean, of course I want to work with Denzel and Will and Jeffrey Wright and, of course, Esapatha Mercus, CCH Pounder. I mean, I can go down the list of people I would love to work with, but for some reason, something about Viola, honey, if I can work with her.
I know. Yeah.
I'm good.
Woo! So giving you your flowers, you have a lot of signature jokes. One in particular is your football one that
they've tried to steal.
Well, we've posted it and it has gotten like our latest numbers on is like 500,000.
He touched me in the right spot. I said, first down. He tried to put it in my booty. I said, interception. Tried to put it in my face. I said, face mask. Started choking me. I was like, hold it, personal foul.
Oh my God.
25,000.
Oh, child, I've lost a lot of weight.
We posted. Listen, girl, we all go up and down.
I was pregnant in that video, and that's my line. I'm sticking to it.
There you go. But that joke never gets old.
25,000. Oh,
yeah, and the fans love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How did you come up with that joke?
Much as I hate to say this, my ex-husband helped me write that joke because he was an football player.
Gotcha.
And we were watching the game one day because he was a huge Cowboy fan. We were watching the game, and I just started laughing. I kept saying stuff like, "That's what I'm gonna start saying to you when I get mad. Flag on the play." Blah, 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 blah. And he goes, "Babe, that'd be a joke." And I said, "What you mean?" And we just kind of like played with it, and that's how that joke came to be. He gave me all the calls, and then I added what the joke would be. I added the meat. He gave me them 2 pieces of bread, which was all them calls, and I put the meat in it. Right. And that night I had a show, and I tried it, and it ripped. Ripped. And that's how that was born.
It's an amazing joke. It kills every time. I've seen you do it.
Don't come looking for me for no check for that joke until I see a child support check. I just thought I'd throw that out.
Oh my gosh, that's your story. You're sticking to it. That's right.
I see a child support check. No, you cannot ever die from that joke.
That's a great segue into some current events I wanted to talk about. What did you think about the draft and Shador dropping down?
I will have to admit, I did not pay attention to the draft this year because I was working like a crazy person I heard about what happened.
About Deion's son. Yeah.
He was supposed to be the number 1 draft pick, and he
was supposed to go first round. He went down to 5. Mm-hmm.
I mean, life is. Okay, you playing, ain't you?
Okay, so
ain't you? Okay, whatever.
All right, but something I know about pertaining to footballers was going on with Mr. Shannon Sharpe.
Girl, us women over 40. That is not our fight. We do not have a dog in that fight. I mean, I could break it down and analyze it for you, honey, but he is a prime example of men who never got chicks when they were younger. And now he's trying to circle back and get all the chicks he wish he could have got. Because anytime you 60-some-year-old man dating chicks that your granddaughter could have had a play date with, you need help. But we bruh. Because I mean, it ain't no dog in the fight. 1, I'm over 20, and 2, I'm black. So I don't have a dog in the fight.
He ain't checking for us. He ain't checking for us.
That's an awesome. Why would I care? Why would I care? Okay, I have melanin and I can read.
It's so funny the things that are coming up on social media. Is like Kat tried to warn him, Monique tried to warn him, everybody tried to warn him.
I'll tell you, it's a prime example of the dude that could not get the bad chick growing up, and now that he's got money and notoriety, he's trying to circle back to his past and get all the chicks he couldn't get, which is crazy because you could probably find you a Jane Kennedy. But you rather go get Sexy Red. But not even Sexy Red. You out here.
Sexy Red.
You ain't even going after Kardashians. They got too much melanin in there. I mean, baby, I don't know. It's like, he's made it very clear he don't mess with us.
And we don't mess with him.
And that's above me. I ain't got no dog in that fight, baby.
Oh my goodness.
He like his women that are still working on their vowels and consonants. No, we're good. We're good. God bless him. But
and how long have you been in Atlanta?
Let's spill some on me. I've been in Atlanta now almost a decade.
How do you like it? What made you move there?
Well, I moved here initially because I was going through a divorce and I just felt like I needed to be close to family. And it was like everything was falling into place where my girlfriend took me out with her one day because she was a real estate agent. I fell in love with the house that, of course, burnt down. I made an offer. They took it. I ended up having this home here. At first, it was just going to be like a investment property, but then I came back to film with TP and we stayed. And then it kind of worked out that I was here because both of my parents got very ill at the same time. So I ended up being a caregiver for them. So getting to Virginia was a lot easier from Atlanta than California. And then, now that my son is, 13, about to be 13, he's been here since he was 3 years old. And I'm not going to uproot him and go back because everybody asked me after the fire, was I going to go back to LA? And I said, if it was just me, probably. But I have a child who's acclimated here. His friends are here. My village is here. I have an amazing village that allows me to be an efficient and capable single mother, and I don't, I didn't want to do that to him. And I said, well, I got 5.5 years left before I'm an empty nester, which I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud. So when he goes to college or whatever, he chooses to do, then mommy will make a decision if she goes. I don't know. I was in LA so much the first 5-6 years I was here because I was on shows that filmed out there. So I was bi-coastal probably the first 5-6 years I was here. So these are the few years, these last couple of years, like 3 years have been when I've really felt like I'm in Atlanta now.
And what are some of the, I guess, pluses and minuses of Atlanta? I know they say the club scene is a certain way, the restaurant scene.
I don't club here, honey, no.
Okay.
Baby, no. I line dance in my living room, sugar, no. If I ain't getting paid, you will not see me there. I say the pluses with Atlanta, the culture. I feel it's a great place to raise my son. It's that Southern hospitality. I know my neighbors. I go to PTA meetings. I know other parents. I know the kids. You know what I'm saying? If my kid says I'm going to Julius's house, I know Julius's mom and daddy. It's that village that I love because in California, it's like it's very separate in a sense that it's hard to have friends that aren't in the industry there. It's weird.
Yep.
But here, most of my friends are not in the industry. They're just regular mom and dads, and I love that. I have my industry friends, but when I'm in mommy mode, I want to be around other parents.
Yeah.
Cost of living. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could have survived the pandemic if I was living in a $2 million house in California, whereas here, I didn't skip a beat. I was still taking care of mommy and daddy, paying my bills and the whole nine during the whole pandemic. I think the same thing about the strike. When we had the actor strike, I was able to go on the road and tell jokes, but I was still able to pay my mortgage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of my friends in LA were struggling boots. A lot of them left LA because of that and the pandemic and the strike because they couldn't afford to live there anymore.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'll say that, I don't know, can I say this on here? I realized that I was way more bougie than I thought I was. I got to Atlanta and realized that they let Black people and ninjas congregate. I come from a world. I come from that Jack and Jill world, honey. Black folks over here, them ninjas over there. You gotta go visit and here you could be sitting in a $10,000 plate mayor's event and you sitting next to somebody smelling like Hennessy and weed. So I just wasn't ready that in Atlanta they let Black people and ninjas, come in. I wasn't ready for that. That was the biggest culture shock for me.
For some reason, that makes me think one of your other jokes about dating younger men,
Mm-hmm.
and the wonderment they have with you having nice stuff.
Simple stuff. You got curtains. What, baby, you ain't never seen curtains. Your bed set up so high, it's called a box spring, sugar. Yeah. It's just that's the dynamic that's interesting here.
It's different.
But I will say it's to the advantage of that. My child is not one note, as I didn't grow up one note. Half my family was well off and the other half was in the projects. So I spent half my summer at Jack and Jill and high teas and cotillions, and the other half of my summer running through the projects with some flip-flops on, going to the Candy Lady. So I got to have the best of both
worlds. Yeah.
Son is getting that too, because he goes to a great public school. He was in private school and he got a taste of that. Where most of the kids in there, parents had money and privilege. But he also, now he's in public school and it's a mixture. And I love that his friends are very eclectic. He's got Asian friends, white friends, Black friends, Spanish friends. He's very eclectic. And he also knows that there are times he's around certain groups of friends that come from, and then he gets to go hang out with his friends who used to have silver teeth. So.
Now, is he off limits for your stand-up?
I talk about my son some.
Okay.
It's hard for me. I have incorporated him into my act. Right now, I'm in a point of transition because he's going from my baby to a man before my eyes. And I get choked up trying to do material because the young lady that got in trouble because it was a joke she made about her son that's on Abbott Elementary. I feel her on that one day it's a PP and the next day it's a whole ding-a-ling. Like I wasn't ready. So it's just a little transition for me right now of finding the funny in knowing he's breaking up with me.
It's over. He's gonna quit you.
Like. That's the joke. That's the joke that I'm working on right now, is realizing you are too attached to your son because when they get older, you feel like he's breaking up with you.
He gonna quit you. He quitting you.
He gonna quit me. He gonna quit me. He gonna ghost me.
With current events, also wanted, today they just announced that one of the people being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is Salt-N-Pepa.
Oh, that's great! Yay! Yeah. If you are over 45 and never had that haircut, you did not live. I had that haircut junior year, senior year, and freshman year of college. Don't play with me.
You have a favorite Salt-N-Pepa song?
Oh God, what a man! What a man! I still love it. That comes on, and I'm pumping that loud as hell in the car.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love it.
I mean, within Vogue, can't get any better than that. That's a great song.
Yep, I love What a Man.
Yeah, and who are your favorite musical? You have a great voice. Your speaking voice sounds like you can sing. So can you sing?
I can carry a note. I'm the SHIT in karaoke, baby. Okay, but when you get to hang around people like Kiki Wyatt and Medicine,
okay,
you shut up when they start singing. I'm just in the back like, ooh, ooh. That's it for me. But I can definitely carry a note, but I'm a very eclectic and weird woman. I know that's probably why it's so hard for me to meet a man, because I love the blues. I love jazz. When I went to see Sinners, I was in there
girl
with the blues music.
Woo!
Average dude I know, they looking at me like something wrong with me. But I remember sitting in my daddy out there working on the car, riding with my daddy to the store. That's all my daddy played. I knew more about blues music than I knew about salt and pepper. You know, like real talk. And so for me, you know, I like blues. I like jazz. You know, I like old school gospel. You may walk in my house and I'm playing Mahalia.
Okay.
Okay. Because of my grandma. I think I feel closer to them when I play that music. And I love that. Like I've had blues on my Alexa maybe for the last week because I went to see Sinners and now I'm stuck. I can't get out of that moment. And two, you know, I like, you know, old school rock. You know, that yacht rock. Oh, honey, I will have that in the car all day. Take me away from where I love yacht rock.
Christopher
Cross, girl.
Cross. Yeah.
You know, baby, come back.
Some REO Speedwagon or something, like Phil Collins or something.
Could see you something, and I just can't live without you. Like I'm weird, you know, like that. So it's hard for men to understand me because it's like there's a white girl, there's a Spanish girl, because I'm being here playing some Tito Puente.
All right.
I'm very eclectic with my music selection. I love music and I just resonated with it. I think it's the Libra in me because they say Libras are very much into music because it does their spirit. You know, and I mean, and I'm old school hip hop, you know. Now the new school hip hop, love me some Kendrick Lamar. I love some Drake.
Okay.
You know, yeah. You know, now I will say I love me some Glo-Rilla.
I do. I love her.
When she said it's 4 p.m. Friday.
I just love her.
Ain't got me.
She
gained the auntie with that song. She gained the auntie. That's my baby Glo-Rilla right there. But
she's a personality. I think she has it in her to do comedy and to do.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I'll be saying that in the car, and I'm 2 years old. I'm like, So wherever you are, Glo-Rilla, you have gained an auntie in Coca Brown.
Love her glow. Love her glow.
Love her. You know, but I'm old school hip hop, honey. I got the old school hip hop channel in my car. I was grooving today. They played Cream by Wu-Tang. I almost jumped out the car, you know, and I'm playing. They played Black Moon. Oh my God, I lost.
Oh wow.
Oh my God, check my dialect from my diaphragm, my man. What? Oh, like, you know, seriously, like I like the old school hip hop, definitely, you know. But I'm eclectic. In whatever mood, every morning I get up and I tell Alexa to play whatever mood I'm in. And it will play all day long.
Who was your first concert?
First concert, my cousin. No, take it back. Now, first concert I went to by myself or first concert I ever went to? First concert I ever went to, I was on my daddy's shoulders at the Hampton Coliseum seeing Earth, Wind & Fire. Okay, I saw Earth, Wind & Fire, saw the Commodores, saw the Temptations, saw Luther Vandross. I don't know, it's funny, I came from an era that people took their kids to these concerts. Yeah. So I saw all of that growing up. You know, I saw Tito Puente in Central Park, you know, and, you know, Herb Alpert at a park, you know. With my
who was the first you went to by yourself? Like
by myself, Purple Rain.
Ooh.
And I wasn't by myself. Shout out to my cousin Gina, who I was in 7th grade, and she was a freshman in college, and I was seeing a lot of shit I shouldn't have been seeing because of her, because I saw Purple Rain in the theaters with her. Ooh. And she took me to see when Prince came to the Hampton Coliseum with the Purple Rain tour. Jeez. And then I also went to see New Power Generation 1.
What was that?
I ever went to by myself was New Edition.
Okay. Candy Girl. Okay.
Girl, me and my friend, I think we might have been in there 8th grade, and we all got to go by. So our parents dropped us off at Hampton Coliseum and said, "Stay together. We'll come get you when the concert's over." Yep.
That was my first concert too. At not the Candy Girl, was Any Heartbreak at Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw them first when they were opening. Who were they opening for? Houdini was on that show. The Fat Boys was on that show.
Oh wow.
And New Edition, I think it was like the Crush Groove tour or something. It was crazy.
Oh, okay. That sounds about right because of the movie. Those were all in the movie.
I saw the Any Heartbreak tour, and then I got to see them at Essence Fest a couple of years ago and lost my dang mind. But they were opening, for like other acts when I first saw them, and then they came back with the Eddie Heartbreak tour, which I went to too.
Okay. And so a little birdie told me that you used to do music videos.
I used to do. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. I did, and it wasn't. I wasn't a video vixen. That's why you're gonna have to look for me. But I did a few videos in my day. Sitting on Chrome with Master Ace. Big Papa with Biggie. I'm sure that when they told you Rump Shaker, Rex and Effect.
Really? I would have never known.
I ain't always been big. Okay.
All I want to do is zoom, zoom, zoom.
Girl, at one point I was thighs and titties on a stick, but that was it. But yeah, so it was crazy, you know, just every video opportunity I had just like fell in my lap. Like one of my girlfriends was dating one of the guys from Rex, where she was messing with one of the guys in Rex and Effect at the time. That's how we ended up in that video. We just go down to Virginia Beach and end up in that damn video. Master Ace, they were shooting it, and we just happened to be outside. They said, "Come in the video." We were like, "Okay." And my girlfriend, then when we got in Big Papa with Biggie, girlfriend I knew was dating Sean. We knew him as Sean.
Sean.
Okay. And that's how we ended up in that video.
Wow. So now everyone do their homework and go look for
these
music videos and find Miss Coco Brown.
Yeah, it's not like I was a video vixen, honey. I ain't had no cameo and nothing. You gotta look for me.
And how'd you get your name, Coco Brown?
Comedian James Bean, shout out to him. I had been on stage a few times, and he said, "You need a stage name. You're just funny as hell. You need something about you. You need a present stage name." And I was like, "I don't know," because I was going on stage in my regular name, you know. And I saw him maybe a few weeks later. He handed me a napkin. I opened it up. It said Coco Brown.
Perfect. There you go.
That's what I was. Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna let you go. You've been amazing to be with us today. You are so much fun. And we have something we call Diva Dozens, and it's quick fire questions.
Okay.
And some of them are like, you know, a little more saucy than others, but let's
do. What the first thing comes to my mind?
Yes, first thing comes to your mind. Yes, you can cuss.
Oh, I'm a cursor. Okay.
So let's do Diva Dozens. Okay. First celebrity crush.
God, first celebrity crush. Jesus. First celebrity crush. Ralph Tresvant, New Edition.
Uno or spades?
God! Oh, spades.
Is Nookie best early morning or late night?
Early morning.
You said that was feeling.
It would be wooden, girl. That early morning would.
It would be
wooden, baby. That early morning would be wooden.
Oh my goodness. What's your favorite city to perform in?
Baltimore.
Blue cheese or ranch?
Blue cheese.
What African nation would you most like to visit?
Ghana.
Who'd you rather, Idris or Aaron Pierre?
Idris.
Go to karaoke song.
Proud Mary, Ike and Tina Turner.
Oh, nice. Favorite reality show or guilty pleasure show?
Oh God, Real Housewives of Atlanta.
What was your nickname growing up?
Love Bug.
Different World or Martin?
God, that's tough. Now that's wrong. Oh God, God. Okay, I would have to say Martin, but God, I love The Different World. Like, I still watch it, but Martin, I can watch Martin whenever it's on.
Yeah. And if you could be someone for a day, would it be Sierra, Cardi B, or Meg Thee Stallion, and why?
Sierra.
Why?
She got a man that really love her.
That part.
I want to know what that look like, girl, when your man think you walk on water, baby.
Listen,
feel like
everybody been asking for that prayer for 10 years now. You're like, what's that prayer?
Girl, they don't even exist no more. I think they broke the mold after Russ.
I tell you. Go off, Sierra. Go off. So let people know where they can find you.
It's real easy, guys. Just go to my website, Coca Brown. That's COCOA. Please don't forget that A. Brown, the number 4, life.com. That leads to everything Coca Brown, my IG, my TikTok, my Facebook, my Snapchat, my YouTube. It leads to everything. So just go to my website, Coca Brown, COCOA Brown, the number 4, life.com.
We got you. You see, we
All
got
right.
you right there. Got your Instagram, everything. Thank you so much.
Thank
You
for
are
having me.
so amazing. This was fun.
Thank you for having me, baby. Thank you. I'm going to go
This
take
was
this hair off.
very fun. And hello to your son, Phoenix.
Yes, let me go check on him because he loves when I do podcasts because he gets to stay up past his bedtime because I ain't the clock. So
you're welcome. You're welcome, son.
Yes. You can stay up a little later. Yes.
So thank you so much, Coco Brown, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sharon. This was an absolute pleasure. So much fun. Good luck with all of this. This is amazing, my sister. And
thank you. And we'll see you again. We're going to see you again. All right.
Okay. All right. Bye, darling.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. This was an amazing, amazing show. Thank you, Coco Brown. And thank you all for tuning in. We're going to bring you more stories. Please subscribe. Please follow. We're going to talk to more divas, Comedy Divas. I'm Sharon B. Bye.